Yo, so guys, this is Houston Sports Talk back in the video today, and today the Houston Texans beat the Detroit Lions 26-7 in the preseason finale. Great win for the Texans to end off the preseason, finishing the preseason 2-1. They had that bad game in Minnesota, and you know what? Loss in Minnesota. I would say the Texans lost that game because of Graham Mertz. But I would also say that the Texans won this game today because of Graham Mertz. Now, Cade Slovis was good today. He threw 111 passing yards, one passing touchdown, threw 111 passing yards in the second half. But Graham Mertz was amazing, and I think this is great to see from a guy who in his first preseason game threw 3 picks. Now, I'll give Graham Mertz a little bit of a pass. That was his first game in the NFL, and his first game coming back from a torn ACL. I think in any game coming back from a torn ACL, any game coming back from a torn ACL is tough to make, and especially your first NFL game of your career. But Graham Mertz today showed a lot better stuff than he did in his last game. Threw 14 for 16, 145 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown, and I think out of his 2 incompletions, only one of them was a bad throw. He was simply almost perfect, and I thought he also did a really good job in the run game as well. I was really impressed with him. Going into this day, I felt like the Texans' QB3 spot was locked at Cade Slovis. Really thought that he had this job locked. And, honestly, now I don't know. I don't know what to say. I feel like Graham Mertz played well enough for the Houston Texans to have a really hard decision on who's going to be the third quarterback on this roster between these two guys in Mertz and Slovis. I thought both of them played well. I think ultimately both of these guys, you look at Slovis' all-around preseason. The first 2 games, Slovis looked really good. This was the only game that Mertz looked good. But this was the only game for Mertz where you really saw quality playing time. Mertz really only played the fourth quarter or a little bit of the third quarter in the half the third and the fourth quarter in the Minnesota game. Only played for one drive in the Lions game. Sorry, not the Lions game. The Panthers game at home. And in this game, you actually saw him play an entire half. So I don't know. The Texans drafted this guy in the 6th round. Slovis was undrafted, has been in the league a couple years. I don't know who the Texans lead forward to, but with the Texans starting Graham Mertz today and him having the better day, I would lean towards Graham Mertz being the guy that's going to be the third quarterback on this roster for the Houston Texans. But I was really impressed with him today. But let's go over the scoring summaries. The Texans win 26-7. This was a near domination for the Texans. It started off with a 43-yard field goal for Kaimi Fairbairn to make it 3-0 in the first quarter. And then Kyle Allen, former Houston Texan and former Houston Cougar, would throw a 33-yard touchdown pass to Isaac T-Slay. And that would be the only touchdown for the Lions, only score for the Lions. Then Woody Marks would have a 9-yard touchdown run, his first touchdown of his career, to make it 10-7. But then Graham Mertz would also have his first touchdown pass of his career, a 6-yard touchdown pass to Quintez Cephas. The extra point was no good, a bad snap, and it's 16-7. Then Caden Slovis with a 3-yard touchdown pass to Daniel Jackson. And then it's 23-7. And then Kaimi Fairbairn with a 48-yard field goal to make it 26-7. Graham Mertz was 14 for 16 with 145 passing yards and 1 passing touchdown. Hendon Hooker had his best game of the preseason so far. He hasn't been great this preseason, but his best game of the preseason so far. 6 for 11, 70 passing yards, 1 interception thrown. Jawar Jordan looked good. I don't think he's going to make this roster, but I think he definitely showed the Texans he should be on the practice squad with his performance today, with 13 carries, 55 rushing yards. Sailors led the Lions in rushing yards with 32 rushing yards. Cornell Powell, recent signing, looked really good. Obviously, he's not going to make the roster, but he looks like someone who could make the practice squad with this performance. 6 receptions and 63 receiving yards. I was impressed with him. And, we can go over the rest. I mean, Slovis was was 11 for 16, 111 passing yards, one passing touchdown, one interception thrown. Jawar Jordan, 13 carries, 55 rushing yards today. British Brooks, another guy I don't think is going to make the roster, but is going to be a practice squad candidate, had 7 carries and 23 rushing yards. I think both Brooks and Jordan made a great impression today trying to make the practice squad. And then you saw some other guys in the running back room that should be on the roster and played well today. Like Damian Pierce had 7 carries for 17 rushing yards. Durango Balloway had 1 carry for 18 rushing yards. Woody Marks had 6 carries for 19 rushing yards and 1 rushing touchdown. I think those are all 3 guys right there that should be on the Texans' 53-man. And I mentioned Graham Mertz was also good in the run game as well. He had 2 carries for 20 rushing yards, so total of 165 yards on the pass game and the run game for Graham Mertz today. Kyle Allen, former Texan, definitely was the better quarterback for the Lions today. Yes, Hooker threw 4 more passing yards, but Allen was 5 for 5 with 66 passing yards and 1 passing touchdown. Hooker also did have a 25-yard run, though. All right, outside of Cornell Powell, I mentioned Quintez Cephas was really good today. He had 4 receptions for 51 receiving yards and 1 touchdown. And then also another recent signing for the Texans, Juwan Winfrey had 1 reception for 26 receiving yards. Then you have there were some wide receivers for the Texans that were out there today that very well could be on the 53-man roster. Xavier Hutchinson had 1 target early in the game, like one of the first drives. He had 24 receiving yards on that one catch. Jaden Higgins was targeted twice for 18 receiving yards. That was really it of players you would expect. Like Woody Marks had 3 receptions and 20 receiving yards. Jakob Johnson with 2 receptions and 16 receiving yards. New addition from the John Mechie trade, Harrison Bryant had 2 receptions for 13 receiving yards. That was really it. Tackles, Foley Fotakasi led the Texans with 3 tackles. They had 3 sacks today. Tommy Tongai had 1 sack. 1 sack for Arthur Mullett. And the other sack went to, went to Hagi Nobasai. I hope I said his name right. I remember while watching the game, they said his name, and I honestly was thinking in my head, try to say that 5 times fast. But 3 tackles for loss and 3 sacks for the defense today. And they did have an interception. Jalen Mills, the addition for the Texans right now because of the CJ, they added him in because of the legal troubles with, Jimmy Ward, and then this was also as the time as, CJ Gardner-Johnson got hurt, added in Jalen Mills, and I was really impressed with him today because he got an interception that returned for 17 yards, and also on the opening kickoff, there was an amazing return by Lions Grant, I think it was Grant Stoddart, Grant Stewart had an amazing return for 44 yards to start the ball game. And honestly, this might have been an open kickoff touchdown if it wasn't for a tackle Jalen Mills made on the opening kickoff, and then he had an interception that he returned for 17 yards today. I feel like Jalen Mills, the veteran, should be on the 53-man roster as well. So he impressed me. And then Tremont Smith on the kick return game also impressed me. It's not the fact that he can just go out there and play defense for you, but also at a 47-yard kick return as well today for the Texans. So he impressed me on special teams as well. But yeah, that's really it for the game today. Let me know your thoughts on the 26-7 win for the Houston Texans. And we are almost 2 weeks away from Texans-Rams Week 1 kickoff. Let me know your thoughts on the game in the comment section, and peace out.